President Donald Trump has issued a memorandum under Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974 that potentially starts a trade war with China over its alleged intellectual property misappropriation. Would a trade war with China be morally defensible? Just war theory, which originates in ancient India, the Mahabharata, helps us answer that question. There are 6 criteria as to whether or not war is morally defensible, and in this case, 3 favor the president's actions, but 3 go against his actions. Let's start with the yes, go to war criteria. The first one is whether or not the cause is just. Here, based on the facts alleged by the United States Trade Representative, the cause is just. China's theft of patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets through an array of measures has cost American businesses hundreds of billions of dollars. The USTR further alleges that China directs cyber attacks against American businesses to steal their intellectual property. On the second yes, go to war criterion, is the authority that launches a trade war legitimate? The answer here is yes. The authority is legitimate because it allows for open public debate. The Trump administration is not suppressing open debate about whether or not to have a Sino-American trade war. The third criterion for a just war is that war be a last resort. Every other peaceful means to resolve the dispute has been tried. Well, that criterion is met in this case too. Every president since Bill Clinton has tried to resolve intellectual property problems with China without going to a trade war. And sadly, every president has failed. Therefore, Mr. Trump's Section 301 decision truly is the last resort. Alas, there are 3 no, don't go to war criteria under just war theory. The first is proportionality. Would the expected benefits from the Section 301 action offset the likely harm that the Section 301 action would cause? Well, that's not clear. China will retaliate if the United States follows through. And the retaliation will inflict suffering on American businesses and consumers, for example, in the form of higher prices for consumer products. There's also the possibility that China might competitively devalue its currency against the dollar and perhaps even dump treasury securities. Then there's collateral damage. For example, what about India? On the one hand, Indian intellectual property interests from Bollywood to Bangalore would benefit from better IP protection in China. But on the other hand, what about diversion of Chinese goods away from the American market into the Indian market? The second no, don't go to war criterion is intention. The intention must be solely to rectify the wrong, in this case, China's IP misappropriation. But here the Trump administration is also using Section 301 to try and correct the bilateral trade deficit with China. The third no, don't go to war criteria is the probability of winning. What's the chance the United States would win a Sino-American trade war? Well, we don't know. We do know that each side would inflict considerable damage on the other, and how it would end, we're not sure. We also know that Mr. Trump will have a difficult time avoiding friendly fire. He will have to avoid hitting American multinational companies that export from China into the U.S. market. So what happens next? Well, if we stick to pure just war theory, then the only way a Sino-American trade war is morally defensible is for all 6 criteria to be satisfied. They're not. 3 are, 3 aren't. But in this case, maybe the 3 that are satisfied are all the inspiration Mr. Trump needs from just war theory to move forward under Section 301 and launch this trade war.